What's it like to be home 2 games in a row, Coach?
I honestly thought that it was the first time it had happened. And then we were in one of those meetings yesterday, and somebody said it happened when we played LSU in Missouri. And I said, that was in 2012, I thought. It feels like it's been forever. So after 3 out of our last 4 on the road and the transition from Wednesday, Saturday to Tuesday, Saturday, with 2 of those 3 being on the road, 9 consecutive days of work, along with unexpected travel. Yeah, happy to be at home. Happy to be at home, and happy to be at home, like literally be at home and see my family and sleep in my bed, but also happy to be at home and play at Reed with what's transpired here the last 2 games relative to the support.
Does 4 games of rest give you any more of an advantage than maybe 3 games would?
Days.
3 days.
I'm not sure how to answer that, Olin. I'm trying not to participate in any politics whatsoever in this basketball season. I would say it would be worth you studying how that transpires. So, yes, I for sure think it's a competitive advantage. Absolutely.
I know, not to beat a dead horse from last time, but free throws and
I know.
finishing at the rim seemed to be a little bit.
It was I think both of those, Travis, were our lowest of the year. Let me see. 49% of our shots were at the rim at Arkansas, a really good number, as you know, and we shot 39%. We shot 54%, I think, from the line. Well, we make 14.
I think it's
14
correct.
to 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we attempted the same number of free throws as we had offensive rebounds. And played with a really low turnover rate. I think they were 19th in the country at tip-off in live ball turnovers, creating steals. We did a good job with that, similar to what we did at Auburn. If 50% of your shots are in the charge circle, you feel pretty good offensively. If you get 24 offensive rebounds, you feel really good. But we did not finish at a high rate, our lowest, both of those. And so we don't make excuses. We credit the opponent. We credit the staff. But if you only saw the numbers, you would say, I'm surprised that you only lost by 9 when you were fouling the last 2 minutes of the game, because those are not good numbers.
What gives you confidence that, especially at the free throw line, y'all can kind of make right that ship, make the turnaround?
Well, I think the first 7 games, I think we were first in the SEC in free throw percentage. I think Brad could probably attest to this, I think through 5 SEC games, we were number 1 in the nation in free throw makes and free throw attempts. As you know, that's a part of how we skew our offensive numbers, our offensive rebound percentage and free throw makes. To the point from the last time I saw you, I don't think that's who we are. And are we the best shooting free throw team that we were for a period of time? I don't know. Are we the worst? I don't think so.
Having faced Mike White when he was at Florida and then now being at Georgia, what are some characteristics of his team or his teams?
Well, I don't know Coach that well. I know he's from the first family. His dad is held in the highest regard in athletic administration. He has 2 brothers that are now ADs. Obviously, coach. I think he was the head coach at Louisiana Tech for 4 seasons. Is that right? Head coach at Florida 6 seasons. Is that right?
Probably somewhere around there.
And obviously in his first season, played at Ole Miss, I think, while his dad was the AD at Tulane. I understand this is a volatile business. I thought he did a pretty good job at Florida, and I know I always stick up for coaches, but you follow a Hall of Famer at a really good job, and you go to the NCAA tournament 4 out of 6 years. I would say that's really good. And I think it speaks to the players that are still there that were on the team when he was the coach, that they did a good job. And I think he's done a really good job. I know that there's still returning players at Georgia from when Coach Crean was there, but they've added multiple pieces. The transfer from Bradley, number 0, who played in junior college with number 3. Number 12, the transfer from Oklahoma State. They've added some really good pieces. There is some similarities, I think, in what they're doing offensively. I think defensively they've probably changed, rightfully so. They don't have number 12 from Florida on their team anymore, who is dominant at the rim. So they're a little different defensively, but there are similarities in how I think they're trying to play offensively. 0 has the highest usage rate in the SEC. And I know that it would be 3 seasons that we have been here, that Coach was at Florida. Fairly certain during COVID we didn't play them. I think that's right. So they are very 0-centric. His usage rate is above 30%, which is ultra high. And then number 3 is very, very good. But I think a portion of why they've been so successful is they have a really good first 5, and then they have 4 guys that come off the bench that play real minutes. I think they're 4th in the league in 3-point field goal percentage. They have guys that can make shots. 0 and 3 are electric at getting downhill. I think they're 2nd in the league in getting fouled, which helps their offensive numbers. So I think he's done a really good job. Really good job.
Quendo went for like 33 in one of your games last year. So, I mean, he has this explosive.
Very explosive.
Right?
Yeah, elite level athlete.
Yeah.
If you're not coaching against him and you're just watching him, I would say it's fun to watch because he's elite. And I think adding 0 shot 103 more balls than number 3. But in some respects, I think that it's made 3 even more effective because there's somebody else on the perimeter. They utilize 1 kind of as a 3 and as a 4. We had problems last year with number 23 in the post. He's done a good job for them. And then they added 12, who's another forward. 23's more left hand, 12 is more right hand, but they're very similar in their production. And that's to his question. I think he's comprised in year 1 a really good team.
Let's get some TV questions.
What are your expectations for this team as you enter in the second half of SEC play?
Well, I thought we had a good month of January. You'd have to look at the numbers, but 7-2. We played 5 road games, 4 home games. So I think we were 3-2 on the road, 4-0 at home. 9 weeks of the regular season. We will actually start the 9th week, the last week of February. So I think we're off to a good start. I think we're in a position to be in a position. I think our guys are very receptive to how we go about our days and the process. I think they're aware of where we're good and we have to figure out a way to stay good. But I also think that they're aware of where we need to be significantly better. I think that speaks to their maturity. I think that speaks to the relationships our staff has with them off the floor. Sometimes when you get close to Valentine's Day, sometimes your gas tanks as far as listening to your coaches kind of go away. I don't sense that yet. I know it's not Valentine's Day yet, but we just need to continue on the path that we're on in staying good, and then trying to, I don't know that our bad stuff will get good. We just need our bad stuff not to be quite as bad.
I know before the Vanderbilt game, you mentioned the amount of crowd that you'd be able to have would kind of be a good indicator if, you know, this team is kind of that groundswell of support. It seemed like they really showed out in that game. Is that sort of a nice reward that you talk to your guys about? Like, hey, if we do our job, we can hack this building and help us win games at home.
I don't really bring it up to our players. And I'm not talking about now or to your question. I've just never done that. Similar to, I've never, you know, a lot of coaches hire media consultants for themselves, or they hire someone to run their Twitter account, hire someone to kind of be Brad on steroids. Hey, say this as a player, don't say this. I think that's going on even more in the era of NIL. I don't do any of that, and I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying that that's right. But young people understand what's right, and young people understand what's wrong. It doesn't mean that they're always going to be perfect, but our guys are very aware that how hard they have been working and how hard they play together represents this institution. And I don't think that we win against Vanderbilt without the crowd. We were emotionally zapped after the win at Auburn, getting home at 4 o'clock in the morning, playing a team that runs more plays than anybody in the country. I think that their emotional support, particularly in the second half, was the difference. And if you look at some of what's transpiring in the SEC, I don't think it's there yet, and I don't know that it will ever be there. But like when I'm not coaching, I've never been to an SEC football stadium other than Kyle Field. And someday, like on my bucket list, I want to go to certain things. I would like to go to a road game at every SEC football stadium just because of the environment, and I would like to be a fan, and like, what is that like? That's starting to happen in basketball. I don't think it's quite there, but like what's happening at Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, Auburn, like where can you go and it's like the crowd doesn't have an impact. And I think that particularly our last 2 games, we're close to needing to hire the fire marshal, like where people are getting turned down. We're not quite there. Maybe we can approach that tomorrow since it's a weekend game. We need to have a fire marshal here, and that means you're getting real close. And then when they start camping out like they do for football tickets, then you know you're on to something. And I think that it's burgeoning. We're getting close, and we're thankful for that. And I wouldn't ask our players, but if you ask our players, they would tell you that they're counting on tomorrow night it being similar to the last time they were here. And to his question, I think that that's why they're rightfully so. I think that's why they're happy to be at home too.
Is Friday and Saturday the longest bus ride you've had in a long time?
Travis, if I explained it to you, I don't. Marty is my friend. I've known him a long time. I've known Coach Dykes since I was a kid. When he was the original ESPN guy, I knew him when he was coaching, and now in his resurrecting, or whatever that's called, reunion tour as an announcer. It was hard. We talked to air traffic control. We talked to the state police. We talked to the private plane company that flies us before we left. It's a 48-minute flight. And when we travel, I'm always a few minutes late to see you guys because it's the last thing I do. And we confirmed in every one of those cases, everything's good, right? And then on our descent, they shut the airport down. Okay, well, Now we fly above the FBO for 50 minutes trying to find somewhere to land. Tulsa, nope. Oklahoma City, nope. Wichita, well, that's another hour. Okay, well, your phone doesn't work on the plane, so you land and you're cold calling at 10 o'clock at night. Hey, we need a couple of buses, and we need the buses to carry us to somewhere not in Wichita. Kids are hungry. So then we drive to Tulsa. We got to find a hotel that has 40 rooms. Everybody's hungry. And then they're saying that weather is going to play a part in the drive the next day. So we're trying to figure out when we're going to leave. So we get to the hotel at whatever time that is, a little after midnight. Kids handled it perfect. And then we leave the next morning at 8 because we don't know how long. It's supposed to take an hour 45. We're counting on it taking 2:45. So then we arrive. Obviously, we've missed shoot around. We've missed any form of film or normal person meal. So we get there at whatever time it is, 11:30. I talk to the guys in the team room. Slept for however long. And then we're wondering if the next round of weather is going to impact us getting from the hotel to the gym. So we leave the hotel at 3:45. And then I never saw Luke after the game. So I'm doing radio. And I asked Monaco, you seen Luke? Yeah, he's right around here. I go, that's not a good sign. He goes, what do you mean? I said, because he hadn't talked to me. So that means something's wrong. Because normally he gives me an update. So I finished radio and he goes, Coach, we can leave, but we have to land in Houston. All right, so now we got to get a bus to carry us from Houston back to here. So we got here at 3:15 Wednesday morning. And, kids are fine. They're kids. And as I mentioned to them when we met, a lot of us took buses in junior college. A lot of us rode with our parents in carpools to AAU events. We stopped and there was a little strip shopping center that had McAllister's and Chipotle. Early on in our lives, that would have been like a treat. We never even knew a private plane existed. We would have been excited if there was a charter instead of a yellow school bus. So it was a good reminder of how blessed we are. But to do all of that in such a short period of time, that's a lot. And they handled it perfect. And handled it literally perfect. Not a word, not a negative tone of body language. I respect our guys so much. And then I began to think and pray and try to discern, even as we were traveling back, because I don't sleep after a game, so it didn't really matter to me. But what's right for our team for Thursday? Because we're going to get back at 4 o'clock in the morning, so we're going to go to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning Wednesday, and that's our off day. Well, when your off day starting at 5 in the morning, it's not your typical off day. So I actually think that we handled yesterday the right way to try to get some level. If you think about those 9 days, that's a lot, right? Because that was on the back end of the transition from Wednesday, Saturday to Tuesday for the first time. So I think we probably handled it as well as we could.
And possibly have your legs. When you have to be on
It's hard. I'm 5'11", normal guy, and I get really uncomfortable on those buses really quick. Most of our guys are taller than me, so.
Nobody wants to make excuses, but when you
No, we're not going to.
But then when you go and miss 10 free throws, the teams that typically doesn't do that, it sure seems that might be an indication of the team.
Yeah, but you noticed I didn't say that. I answered that question straight up with Travis.
All right, that's a wrap.
Thank you, guys.